Hello, fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku Puzzle. It's Tuesday, the 27th of December, 2022. It's nice to know that there's still so much to learn about life and things to discover. I've always taken a great delight in learning new things or whatever, or discovering things that I didn't know about. I have a reasonably a pretty good knowledge of the world, I think. I mean, when I watch quiz shows on TV like University Challenge and Mastermind, I do pretty well. Get a lot of the questions right, I think. I'm reasonably well au fait with many things, I think. But then sometimes things come along just to remind you of your own ignorance, or me of my own ignorance in various matters. Sometimes it's because I've lived in Thailand for such a long time. When I first lived here 34 years ago, I kind of cut out the Western world and Western culture, to be honest with you. I really immersed myself in Thai life. I went native, as they hideous empire-type people used to discouragingly say about those people who, during the British Empire, decided to ignore all things culturally British and go and live with the air quotes natives, local people, of course. Anyway, so I kind of missed a lot of things, but so sometimes I'm culturally unaware of things happening in the West. Although now, since the rise of the internet, I've kind of gone back into it, and of course I speak English all the time. And when I first arrived here, I spent a lot of time not speaking English, I think. It was my delight to discover just a couple of days ago a major writer, somebody I had never heard of before, who reads his work aloud, a comedian, a writer, humorist, I suppose, best described as humorist, maybe a diarist. I'm not sure how accurate, or if his diaries are true or just fictional, but anyway, his name is David Sedaris, and I had never heard of him until a couple of days ago. And for the last couple of days, I have been binge listening to audio of him reading his works aloud on YouTube videos. What a hilarious storyteller. What a brilliant wit. Really great. An American writer that I'd never heard of until 2 days ago, and now I'm a huge fan already. So it's always great to know that there are plenty of new things to discover in life. And if you are just kind of just discovering Sudoku, that's another good thing I think you'll enjoy. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's no age limit on when you can start discovering new things or find out things that you were unaware of before. Right, so with that in mind, if we have newcomers, and today is generally a pretty easy day, I'll very quickly run through the rules of Sudoku, this game we're going to play now. It says the Guardian always labels Tuesday as a medium level, but in reality, if you are a beginner, you shouldn't have in general, you don't have too many problems on a Tuesday. So I'll quickly explain the rules. There are 9 squares in each row across, and there are 9 squares in each column down. Our job is to fill in each square with a number. We sometimes call these squares cells. And as there are only 9, the lowest number is 1, the highest number is 9, and we must not allow any digit to repeat itself. Now, we also have these small blocks that you can see outlined in black, like this, and there are 9 of them. This one has no digits filled in yet. This one already has 5 digits filled in. So there are only 4 to get. So you might think that this is easier than that, but, well, we don't know yet. It's a game of logic. It has nothing to do with mathematics. And so let's find out how we fill in the numbers and complete the game. So first thing we do is, okay, let's have a look at this block down here and say to ourselves, what do we have? We have 3, 2, and 8. Can we fill in a 1 anywhere? So what we have to do is examine the surrounding digits. Now, there aren't any 1s over here, but there are certainly 2 1s up here, 1 here and 1 here. And they affect this block down here, this block of 3 by 3. So the 1 blocks all the way down here, and this one blocks all the way down here, and that leaves just a single square here that's still empty, right? 3 and 2 obviously are already filled in these two squares here. So we know that digit 1 must go into that square there. It can't go anywhere else because it's blocked. That means forbidden by this one and this one. Okay? Let's do exactly the same thing again. Where was it I saw it? Oh yeah, we're going to find a 9 in this block over here. We don't yet have a 9, but when we examine the surrounding 9s, what we find is we have a 9 in this column, and so that means 9 is not allowed in this column here, and we have 9 in this top row here, so that means 9 is not allowed like this. And guess what? Again, we're left with a single square, and when we find a single square where the number can go, we can place it. The game has only one solution. To be a valid Sudoku puzzle, it has only one solution, and that's it means as soon as you find an empty square where the number can go, and only one empty square, not more than one, then you can place that number. All right, now you've got the rules. Let's continue along. So we've got 7 blocking up here, down here, and up here, and the 7 across here, and that's going to give us a 7 in that square there. Getting the hang of it now? Good. What took you so long to come and play Sudoku, I wonder? Okay, now we're going to do something a little bit more complicated, but let's see how it works. We see the 6 and the 3 blocking across here, so can this square be 6? No. Can this square be 3? No. Can this square be 6? No. Can this square be 3? No. So we know that neither of these two squares can be 6 or 3. In fact, 6 and 3 have to be in those two squares. Now we can't say which ones yet, but we do know that 6 and 3 are in these two squares, but we can't place them. But that's okay. We'll just keep that in mind for the moment, because now that we know that those two squares must only contain 6 or 3, well, then we can find out what goes in here, right? We know that it's not 6 or 3, and we have 1, 2, 3 in those squares, 4. There's no 5 yet. 6 we have in those squares, and then there's no 8. So we know that these two squares must contain 5 and 8, because these two squares contain 6 and 3. So knowing that this is 5 or 8, now we can see this intersecting 5 here. So can this be 5? Answer, no. So we know that the 5 goes here and the 8 goes there. I hope you understood that. That kind of idea will stand you in good stead in your Sudoku career. And you don't have to make it a career, of course. Amateur games are fine. Right. Okay, now if you are new to the channel, you should know that I don't play these games ahead of time, so I also have to look for the next step. So I've found 7s blocking across these two rows, and that is going to place a 7 in that square there. 5, 6, 9. And if you hear me whispering to myself, that's because I'm trying to find the next move. Here's something. Okay, in this row here, we don't yet have a 2. We've got 3, 6, 5, 8, 9, but we don't yet have a 2. So let's see if we can place a 2 somewhere in this row. Well, let's see what we've got intersecting. We've got a 2 here, so that means that square can't be 2, right? We've got the 2 here. This square can't be 2. We've got a 2 here, so this square can't be 2. And we've got a 2 up here, so this square can't be 2. So in this row here, there is only 1, 2 that is not affected by this, this, or this. Forget the 3 there, I just highlighted by accident. So we know that the 2 has to appear in that square there. Now, let's see what's left. We have 1, 4, and 7 to finish this row. Those are the numbers that we need to finish this row here. Now, when we consider this square here, we ask ourselves, can it be 1? And no, a double no there. Definitely can't be 1 because we've got this one and this one attacking the square. Can it be 4? Maybe, no reason why not. Can it be 7? No, clearly not. So then, since there are only 3 options, it has to be 4, doesn't it? And so now we're left with 1 and 7 over here, right? So let's see. Oh, guess what? We have an intersecting 7 from down here. So fortunately enough, a 7 must appear in that square there. And then we can finish the row with a 1 here. And that's going to help us find the next digit 1, because when we extend that to the top and we take 1 across here and 1 across here, we find... excuse me, I coughed away from the microphone to avoid ear damage to you, but that might have been loud still. I apologize. It's difficult to mute this microphone when making the videos, I must say. 1 appears in that square there. And now there is only one digit 1 left to claim, because we have 1 in all of the blocks. And so we know that we can always find the last number, iteration of a number. 1 actually goes there. Now we have all the digit 1s. And you'll find people on this in the comments section criticizing me for not filling in the last digit, because it's a bad habit of mine. I apologize, but there you go. I'm a bit forgetful, but you don't have to be a genius to play this game. You just have to enjoy figuring out using some logic. That's all. Right, what's next on the agenda? So, looking for the next step forward is always the difficult part in Sudoku, is deciding where you have to go next. So actually, I've seen it now. I have 8s blocking across these 2 rows here, and that's going to give me an 8 in that square there. Now the missing numbers in this row here are 4, 6 and 9, and we have 6 and 9 in the same column. As soon as you see this, 2 numbers, we've only got 3 to get, and we see 2 of our candidates in the same column. We know it has to be the other one, so that has to be a 4. And actually, the 6 and 9 block down here, and we don't yet have 6 and 9 in this block down here yet. So we know, in fact, that 6 and 9 have to be in those 2 squares. And now, because we know that these contain 6 and 9, this is the only other remaining possibility, so it has to be a 5. We'll take that 5 across and say 5's blocked down here. So here is the 5. It doesn't help us, but something to note if you're a beginner, that if you see 2 numbers like this, 2 empty squares like this, the 6 and the 9, and then you find in this row across there are also 2 empty numbers, this also has to be the same digits, 6 and 9. Think about the logic. It's not that tough. And it doesn't help us in this case, but sometimes it does. But not today. By the way, if you have questions about the game, basic questions are okay. Now, don't be intimidated. I understand that there are a lot of experts that comment in the comments section, mostly about the harder level games, but generally speaking, it could be a bit intimidating if you see kind of people who are obviously very good at the game commenting, criticizing my playing, which is okay. But I mean, for newcomers who are thinking about commenting and feel a bit nervous about it or something, no need to be. Just comment away there and ask questions. If you're not sure about anything that happens in the video, ask me, and hopefully I'll be able to explain what I was doing at the time. What am I doing now? That's the problem. I don't know. So I'm going to just start highlighting the digits and start... there we go. So as soon as I highlight it, I can see there's a 2 blocking up here, and that's going to put a 2 into that square there. And the missing numbers here are, I think, 5 and 8, and I can't tell which is which just yet, so I have to leave those for now. Any other easy 2s to grab? I don't think so. But I'll keep looking for a few easy numbers first of all. There are probably some around. Oh, well, I do discover something. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I want to look at the 2s. Okay, now if you follow the 2s blocking up, and across like that, you can see that we are left with 2 in this white square, or this white square here. Okay, you have to hold that in your head for a moment. So this square or this square. Now if we do the same thing with the threes blocking up here and across here, hey, guess what? It's the same squares. So because there are only two numbers available, and there are two squares, we know that these two squares must contain 2 and 3. Nothing else. Only the 2 or 3 can go in this square, and only the 2 or 3 can go in this square, because we have two numbers limited to 2 squares. Now this is a principle that you can apply to more than 2 squares if you're a beginner. Anyway, something to remember. So if we know that that's 2 and 3, when we look down here, we say, what else don't we have apart from 2 and 3? And we discover it's an 8. We have no 8 down here, and we know that these are 2 or 3. And so we can say for sure that that is where the 8 goes. And now we can take that 8 across here, and 8 across here, and 8 up here, and up here is going to give us an 8 in that square. Oh, it's good, isn't it? Liking it already, are you? I hope so. Okay, where to next? Again, I want to talk about trying to remember. I don't want to make it too complicated if you are a beginner, but this is a medium level puzzle, so I'm hoping some of you will have a bit of basic experience. Okay, now one of the missing numbers here is a 5, right? Do you agree? So that means if it's 5 is here, it blocks up here, and if the 5 is here, it still blocks up here. So the rest of this column is not allowed to be 5. And we have a 5 blocking this square here, but in this row we don't yet have a 5, and so we can say for sure that 5 must go there. Now the missing numbers here and here are 4 and 6. And guess what? Over here we have a blocking 4, so this can't be 4. That has to be the 4, and the 6 will finish the row here. Right, what's next? As I said, I don't play these games ahead of time, so I don't actually know what the next move is. 7s block up these two columns here, so that's the 7 there. Then we have 7 across here and up these two rows, and that's going to put a 7 there. Now, since I know what these two squares are, I can work out this square here, because there will be only one missing from the whole series of this row, right? So if we know that this is 5 and 8 in these squares, I have to work out the number that is not 5 or 8 or any of the other numbers. And when I do that, I'm going to be left with digit 9, because we have everything else. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is in one of these two squares. 6, 7. 8 is in one of these two squares, and we'll be left with a 9. So we know that 9 must go there. There's more than one way to find that 9, by the way. You could have said 9 is missing from one of these two squares down here, and so 9 blocks up here, and 9 blocks up here, and then 9 blocks across the top. That will give you the 9 also. So you'll find, if you are new to Sudoku, it might surprise you, but there's often more than one way to come up with the same information. But remember, there must only be one solution. There is only one correct answer. Oh, I'm getting a message. It says, we have found a tracking cookie on your Mac. I should close that message, because it's just advertising trying to get me to buy a service I don't want. Right. Now, that's distracted me. One of the things about Sudoku is try not to get too distracted, because it can make once you lose your concentration. Sometimes I find I lose my thread in thinking as well, which is not so good. Okay, so we have 5 across here and 5 up here, and that's going to give us a 5 here. Now, if you remember, you may remember, but you don't need to. This was 2 and 3, but if you can't remember, you can just look down here and see what's missing from this column, and you'll find it's 2 and 3. And so this is not 2 or 3, and we have everything else except for a 4. So we know that the 4 goes here, 4 blocks across here. That's going to give us 4. Now, there's just one number missing from this whole block here, which is an 8. Oh, excuse me. There you are. Proof that I don't play these games ahead of time or practice or edit the games either. I don't edit anything on this channel unless if I do edit because of an interruption or something, I always tell you that I'm editing. That was a silly mistake, wasn't it? There was an 8 stuck right there. But, I was just not very... I just wasn't concentrating enough. So that's something we need to do, is concentrate. Now, as I said to you before, if this is 2 and 3, it means that this is going to be 2 or 3 as well. But again, that doesn't help us because we can't get the answer from here. Sometimes it helps us a lot. In this case, not much. Right, so what's left? One of the things about Sudoku is deciding where you should look next. So I might be tempted to kind of look along here, and if I am, it means I've got to look at what's going across here. But I don't really see much. The 9s, how about the 9s? If I click on the 9s, we've still got 9s possible in those squares. But down here, I don't know, because 9 could come in any of these 3 squares down here, so I can't tell about the 9s there. 7 and 2 and 1 are already done. 4, how about the 4? 4 blocks across here like this. 4, there we go. So 4 blocks across here like this, down here. So in fact, we can place the digit 4 here, and then we can say 4 blocking up here and down here and across here, and so we can get 4 in that square as well. And also we can finish off the 4s because there's only one more to go, and you can see them blocking as shown. Right, what comes next? As I say, it's always a matter of deciding where you should be looking next. So we have 9 blocking all the way down here and down here, so that gives us a 9 in that square. 9 blocks across here, 9 goes up here, and now this is our last digit, which is 6, and then the 9 is going to appear to finish here. Now we can actually finish off the 9s. We couldn't a moment ago, but we can now. So the 9 goes there. That's the final digit, 9. Now we can definitely finish the game now from this position. So we just don't have a 6 in this square yet, and now we're 1 square missing up here, and that is going to be a 3. And now we're 1 square missing over here, and that's also a 3. And we have 3 blocking over here, so our 3 goes there. And then we take 3 blocking up here. That's going to put a 3 there. 3 blocks across here. 3 goes there. That's the final 3. We are lacking a 2 here, if you remember. We said that earlier on. 2 blocks up here. 2 goes there. 2 blocks down here. Here's the 2. You can see when it's coming towards the end like this, it's kind of a lot easier. There is 1 number missing for this block or this column, which will be the same digit, and that is a 6. And we also need a 6 up here for this row or this block or this column. It's the same thing. 6 blocks across here, 6 blocks down here, 6 goes there. Now we only need 1 digit for this column, and that's a 5. 5 blocks across here, so here's the 5. Last number here is an 8, and we will finish today's medium level Guardian puzzle with an 8. So hopefully if you are a beginner, you kind of followed that through. And as I said, but please leave comments. Don't be intimidated by experts in the comments section. Thank you. Bye-bye.